Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for this Card Magic King tutorial. This card is for my design team entry to the Inspire.Create Challenges. Links will be in the description to that challenge post, and you can see what all the other design team members have made this time around. We're playing with a sketch, so you'll see in the associated post that's linked what the sketch looks like, but essentially there's a panel highlighted with 3 rectangles across it, and this is how I've interpreted it. So it's a reasonable, well, it is a 1-layer card, but as in it's a flat card. There are layers on it, but it's flat. No dimensionals. So I've done a bit of ink blending and a bit of embossing over the top. You see that shimmering away, okay, and decided to use these little rectangle elements for my sentiment. Okay, so really nice. It's not terribly difficult to achieve. You just have a bit of confidence to go with it with the blending tools, the blending brushes. This sort of dandelion image is from Dragonfly Garden. Could equally probably use the dragonflies or something else, you know, something like that. Shaded Summer would be another nice image for that, but maybe for a square card because it's a bit of a smaller one. But you know, something that would be a nice silhouette would work well with this particular concept. I kind of went for almost like a sunset kind of background there, and I've actually taken the sentiment from this one, Artistically Inked. So you saw me use this before, so that's what we're using. All right. By the way, the colours on the background for this one were Balmy Blue, Pale Papaya, and Fresh Freesia. Okay, so that's how that one panned out, and then you've got a little bit of green creeping in and a deeper orange where the 2 colours overlap, as you would expect with the blending. So let's crack on with our card. Now I'm going to bring in my mini grid paper here, and what I've done is I've cut a cardstock layer. This is basic white cardstock. I've cut it 1/8 of an inch smaller than normal, so this is 3 7/8 of an inch by 5 5/8. That's it. Yep. So it's 1/8 smaller because the background panel is going to be in black is going to be the full size, which is 4 by 5 3/4. All right, so that's what we're doing there, just to put that skinny border around the edge to offset the black embossing and the sentiment. And I've got some really low tack decorator's tape, so I use the Delicate Surface frog tape for this. Okay, so you can get this in, you know, what do you call them? DIY stores, right? So it's really low tack, but I still try and take off some of the sticky on my clothing and everything, and I've just taped off a section. Now I've opted to go in 1/2 inch and then have about 1.5 inches as my space to add my ink. You can mess about with this, you can tape off whatever you want, whatever, you know, you could do an equal strip on there and have, like, you know, a border, do several strips if you like. You could tear this and make it really random, have it across, you know, so have fun with the masking. So like I say, this is what I use. You could use sticky notes or something like that as well. Sticky notes sometimes come up with the as you're using the brush, but you know, they can still work. The combo I've decided to use for this background is Tahitian Tide, even Orchid Oasis, and Polished Pink. So these are all in colours. The 2 blue and sort of purpley blue, they're the new ones for 2022, and this one was from last year. So that's what we're using, and I'm going to use the blending brushes to apply the ink. So we're going to get the ink pad open there and bring in a brush. So you don't have to have a brush for every single Stampin' Up colour, otherwise you'll be surrounded by them with 50 odd ink pads in the collection. So what I've done is I've opted to have one for sort of, so I've got a light and a dark blue, and you know, a light pink, dark pink, various things like that, and then I've got a couple that will do sort of, you know, the greys and the neutrals and stuff. So so I actually have, what do I have? I've got one sort of spare, so I think I've got 11 in use, and that serves my purpose. Okay. And I've got a spare one knocking around, which I actually use in my pastels actually. So the brush that I've nominated for this sort of light to mid blues is what we're going to use first, and this is going to go in the central portion. So I want to lay down some ink that will make sort of the transition parts, get the card saturated and stuff. Okay, now I'm not going to tap. Usually you'd see people tapping off because we want a nice subtle colour. We don't want subtle on this one, we want full blown colour. So we're just going to go straight to the cardstock in circular motions, and I'm not going to worry if there's streaks and things like that at the moment, because once we start blending in all the other colours, those will disappear. So I'm just laying that on reasonably thickly, if that's the expression, across that central portion there. Okay. Orchid Oasis. Now this is a kind of a bizarre colour, I think. I think depending on what you put it with, it looks more purple or more blue. It's an interesting colour. So again, I've got a purple brush, so I can do, you know, sort of blackberry bliss and Highland Heather, and not Highland Heather, the other one, Gorgeous Grape. Okay, so this one we're going to come in from the top edge, it's going to be the top, and come down into the Tahitian Tide. Okay, so we're going to go sort of heavy on that top portion and bring the light element down. Just circular motions overlapping that original colour. Now we are going to apply a bit more of the Tahitian Tide in the middle, just to help that blend, but this just sort of gets the process going. And then we're going to bring in the polished pink, do the same thing but from the bottom. Pink brush. Again, that little swirl will end up disappearing. And so don't worry if you get a bit of a line, because what we'll do is we'll go over again with the Tahitian Tide just to finish it off and complete that blend. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. Just go back to that other ink pad now, and go over that middle portion to, one, intensify it, and two, just blend that in just a bit more. So I think this kind of looks, so there's barely any ink on there, but it'll just sort of soften in and blend all those colours together. Cool, or what? Don't they look great? Well, I think they do anyway. Okay, so I think that really looks like, you know, when you get that sort of twilighty sort of sky, particularly at the end of a hot day, and the sky starts to go rather pink, you know. So I think that looks flipping fantastic. Now, just because I'm going for a sky look doesn't mean to say that you have to go with that. A tip for peeling back your paper: try pull it back on itself, and it is less likely to tear up your paper. Okay, all like that. So we've got that nice edge there. So it doesn't matter about the grid paper, but I obviously don't want my artwork to get fuzzed up. So like I say, this tape I find really cool. Now that's it's just rubbed away a little bit there, so I've just got a little bit of a extra little blemish there, but I'm not going to worry about it. Not going to worry about it. Okay, What you could do is just to avoid anything like that, and I think that's what I did with my original actually. I think I was intended to do a full panel. I ended up with a little bit of a blur on the edge, so I ended up trimming it down. So if you felt like you wanted to trim it down, you could. If you end up with a fuzzy bit that you're not happy with. Okay, but we'll press on. We'll press on. So now we're going to do our embossing. Okay, so now I'm going to show you this product. So this is in the mini catalogue. So we've got, I have had one of these, I call them a tidy tray, for some time, but we now have a Stampin' Up one. Stampin' Up used to do one, but they've brought it back in the mini catalogue. So we've got Stampin' Up grey. The little thing comes off the bottom there, so you can use it for beads and sequins, and you're not going to have things roll away. I'm just going to take that off at the time being because we're going to be tipping away our powder. You get like an embossing buddy. You get a great brush, so you know when you get your embossing powder into places where you don't want it, so it's a kind of stiff brush that will brush that away. Also great for cleaning the track on your trimmer, so that goes in there. And some really great tweezers. Now these are heavy, right? Metal tweezers, and they're what we call reverse tweezers. So when you've got no pressure on them, they grip your cardstock. Okay, so when you're embossing and you know you don't want your fingers to get close to that heat, you can just hold on to your cardstock like so, and that curved edge means you can hold really teeny tiny things, or you can use it to really secure your larger pieces of cardstock. Cool, right? Cool. So now ordinarily we would stamp in Versamark and emboss over the top with a coloured embossing powder of whatever variety we want, but I don't have black embossing powder, so I'm not going to stamp in Versamark. You can emboss with regular ink, provided you're quick, right? Because the whole point of the embossing ink is the pigment ink that is slow drying and will grab the powder. Okay, so as long as you've got stuff ready to go, you can do it with water-based inks. So that includes all your classic inks. So if you want to do something on your that matches completely with your classic ink, you can do it. You just have to be quick about it. So I've just put some of that embossing buddy sort of powder on there. I'm just going to flick that off to the side. One of the cats decided to join me and decided that that's going to be interesting. So that's just got covered in the anti-static powder there. Okay, and then we're going to stamp our dandelion image with the Memento ink. Okay, but what I want to do is have my clear embossing powder ready. So I have mine in a jar, which I find easier to pour. Trays at the ready. Okay, so just get nice and prepped. Get that really nice and well inked up, like so. Stamp that down. Nice and firm, and get that powder on straight away, and you can see it's grabbed. Okay, now we've got lots of stray stuff that's ended up here, so we're going to use our handy dandy brush that comes in this lovely embossing kit. I can't remember exactly what they call it now in the catalogue, but you'll find it in there. Okay, so that brush works fantastically well for that. Just knocked off a little bit of that, so just if it's, oh yeah, it's still dry, it's still wet enough to grab that. So you don't want to flick too hard because it's not the super sticky ink. There's just a little hair in that one, so I'm just going to grab that. There we go. So once your powder's on, you're kind of cool, and we can get that popped away. So that just tips away back into the jar, which I will do properly once we've finished. And then I can take my tweezers to hold on to that, and we can get that heated, and hopefully you'll be able to see this go glossy. So I will mute this while I'm doing this because it's super loud over the microphone. So I'll be back with you in a second once we've melted that. Okay, so you want to, as soon as it melts, stop with the heat embossing, okay? Because if you overheat it, it almost sort of melts into the cardstock, and it'll go flat and dull. So don't overheat your embossing, okay? If you've not done embossing much, practice a bit on some scrap. Okay, so you'll see that's all done, but we've got well warpy cardstock for a number of reasons. The heat is on there and everything, but we also had that we saturated that quite a lot with the ink, okay, which is another reason why I was going to layer this with the black, just to give it a bit more rigidity. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to put plenty of Stampin' Seal on this. A lot more than I would normally use, just to counteract that warping. Okay, I'm going to put an extra bit on that particularly curvy bit as well, so there we go, and then layer that onto the black like I said. So I do this, I prefer to have it on its side like this, and lay those three sides down, make sure that they're straight, lay down my top edge here, and then hopefully the rest will take care of itself. And I'm just going to push again backwards on here to try and help with the warping. And then of course, so that's flatter than it was, and then when we put it on the cardstock, which we can do now actually, we can do that. So again, I'm going to put on more adhesive than I would do normally. Oh, let's not have one of my hairs in there though. Let's take that off. So I wouldn't normally use this much. I can see the red release paper on that back, so this seal's going to run out soon, but that's fine, it's easy to. So again, just line it up at the bottom and the top. And again, I'm going to sort of squish it this way to try and minimise that warping there. Voila. Okay. Don't rub too much over your embossing, you'll you don't want to damage it. Okay, so there we are, card base done. Sentiments dead easy. We just need some scrap cardstock. What should we use? Oh, there we go, this bit will do. Here's the happy birthday from that set, and we're just going to use our Memento Tuxedo Black. I'm going to stamp this twice. Okay, and I'm going to just pop that along the bottom there somewhere like that. And we'll do another one up here. Okay, so we need one of the birthdays, but I'm probably going to do the bottom one because that seems to have stamped a little better. Okay, but we need two happies. Okay, so going to bring in my trimmer. So even though I'm going to trim these out, I tried to stamp them straight just to help with this really. So I'm just going to line up the bottom of the letters with the left hand side of the track, the opening where the blade goes, and slide that through. And then I'm going to do the same, lining up the top of the letters with the right hand side of that track. So I'm just going to line that up. Don't know whether you'll be able to see that clearly on the video, but that's what I'm using as my guide to get a nice even border. Okay, do the same with this one. Like so. Now, because these are so skinny, in fact they're skinnier than the original ones, I think I gave myself a bit more room on the other ones. I'm just going to freehand cut these with my paper snips. Just grab those from my little tidy here. Super sharp. So we want this birthday, because I think this one's stamped better. So I'm going to cut that. Try and make sure I get it in the middle, so we've got a nice even gap there. Just trim down the happy so that it looks even with the other end. And you can kind of use this one as a template almost. So sort of roughly line it up, and then you'll know where you need to trim. Your other one. Okay, so here's our happy birthday, and like I say, we're just going to stick this on completely flat. Okay, so our tape adhesive, like so. Just about going to have enough tape. Just about enough. So this just rubs off any surfaces if you get it on there, or you can put a silicone mat under your work if you've got these skinny little things. Okay, so then we just need to make sure that we've got our positioning all right on this. So I don't really want the stem of the P to follow that line, so I'm just knocking that over a little bit. Happy birthday. Okay, and again, I don't really want the stem of that H lining up, so I'm going to put that around there. Hope you weren't having a good view of my head then. Okay, so that's how that looks, and we're going to finish it off with some iridescent rhinestones. Yeah, the original's got original rhinestones on it, just the clear ones. Your choice, which you prefer, and I'm just looking for my poker tool. There it is. So things look nice in trios, so or odd numbers even. I like a trio. I could burst into song there and sing an advert, but I'm not going to. It's probably a breach of copyright or something. Okay, iridescent rhinestones, mainly because that they'll pick up the colours in the card a little bit, because they'll sort of shine a bit pink and purpley as well. So that's why I went with those. So I think this has got a whole different look by using the different combination of colours. Don't know what you think. I have to say, I think I like my original one the best, but that's not to say, you know, someone else might not prefer the other one. So ideas for you there. I hope you've enjoyed seeing how I've done that, and that you know, you don't have to use embossing ink to emboss. So there you go. Like I say, do check out the links for the Inspire.Create Challenge. You can participate by uploading a photo of your make using this sketch as well, and we'll draw a winner. For kudos, you get a badge for your blog, or share it on your social media that you took part and won the challenge. So yeah, there you go. Take care everybody, stay safe out there, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.